allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item on the agenda is approval of our minutes of November the 15th. We did not meet in December.
Move approval, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion for approval and a second. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Public input on agenda items. Anyone in the audience would like to be heard? Not seeing any. I'd like to move on and welcome Sherry Donahue back to our board. She was an alternate, now you're a regular board member. Ms. Donahue grew up in Tampa, graduating from Tampa Catholic, and has lived in Temple Terrace for 38 years with her husband, Michael. Long history of service to the community. She was Temple Terrace's Citizen of the Year in 1990 and the Best Regional Rotary Club President in 2012, which is a big deal. Rotary clubs are very serious clubs. We know you've been active in numerous organizations, including the Junior Women's Club, Temple Terrace Arts Council, the Cancer Society, Girl Scouts of America. She is also past president of both the Greater Temple Terrace Chamber of Commerce and the Rotary Club of Temple Terrace. As a co-founder of the annual Art en Blanc, Sunday in the Park, and other events, she's raised tens of thousands of dollars for charity. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
I do have Adam Harden, his bio here, but I don't see him, so I won't read it until he finally shows up. So let's move to the next item of business, Streetcar System Report. Mr. Allen.
Good afternoon. December was a good month for us. We had 7.5 missed trips. Those trips were divided almost equally between a mechanical failure and a crossing accident that I'll get to in a minute here. We had one reported late departure for a 99.95 on-time performance ratio. And on December 25th, the accident we had this month was between car 430. It was at Channelside Drive in Franklin where a vehicle turned into us. The driver of the vehicle was cited. There was really no damage to the streetcar, only minor damage to the automobile. And we provided 41 hours extra of special service this month. 2 Lightning games, the Winter Village Express, which was very popular, and New Year's Eve. And other than that, all of our inspections were on time, and we are continuing to see a trend. We had 44 wheelchair boardings this month, so we're continuing to see a high number of those.
That's good news.
So does anyone have any questions?
I assume our Saturday service for free continues to be well attended and create no problems for your staff? No.
I guess our only real problem is getting the public to understand that it is free on Saturdays. No matter how big the banner is or the signs, they still seem to want to put money into the TVMs.
I understand.
It's a minor problem to have.
Speak to the devil. And
hey, Adam, there's your chair right there next to Dave Mechanic.
Hey.
Apologize.
Not a problem. It's nice to see you, Adam. I'd like to introduce Adam Harden, who is a new board member appointed by HART. Adam is the founding principal of Soho Capital, a Tampa-based development firm that specializes in acquisition and development of mixed-use residential, retail, office, industrial properties. As you know, he is currently developing the Heights project in Tampa's urban core, a 50-acre, 2.2 million square foot urban mixed-use development on the Hillsborough River. He is also a certified general contractor and spent the early part of his career as a home building executive. We're glad to have you with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Legal and legislative reports. Mr. Smoker?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, just a couple of things. First, pursuant to your authorization at last meeting, we went ahead and renewed the direct media contract for another year. And we also were informed that direct media is being bought out by a company by the name of Vector Media. And we're awaiting, under the terms of our agreement with them, they are permitted to assign that contract, which is their intent, to the new company. They need our consent. We prepared the consent document but I am waiting to see the actual language of the assignment between the two companies to make sure that we're completely protected.
Good.
Once we get that, then our intent would be to go ahead and deliver the consent to the assignment. As far as, I've asked Grant Mielik, our insurance broker on the railroad liability policy, to be here today to give us an update on the status of our renewal of the application. As you know, that's probably one of the single biggest line items on our budget is our railroad liability policy. So
right.
Grant and my staff have been working together to get the application ready. It's ready for you to sign. There's maybe some strategic issues associated with whether we go ahead and deliver it now, the application now to the carriers, or whether we wait for another couple of weeks in hopes that maybe we can get some more carriers who might become interested, in which case
sure.
we may be able to wring out some more savings. So Grant, if you'd come on up.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.
A few things, again, for those who don't know me. My name is Grant Mielik, President with GCM Insurance and Risk Management. I've been the agent for Tampa Historic Streetcar now for 3 years. Whole intent of today's meeting is to kind of update you as to where we are and where I think that we're going as far as renewal terms and premium dollars. Just want to keep kind of today short and sweet. But essentially, to give you kind of an overview of where we're at and where we started, is in 2015, the premium for the railroad liability was $419,000. We took over it that year, and we were able to reduce that down to $342,000. Same terms, it was a pretty substantial decrease. Ever since we have been the agent of record, is we have continued to go ahead and decrease the cost for Tampa Historic Streetcar and the railroad liability. Last year, we were actually able to get the premium down to $331,000, which in effect is a decrease of 23% since we've been able to be the agent. If you look at how volatile the rail lines are, it's an incredibly volatile market from an insurance perspective, and to continue to have lower costs and to keep our costs down 23% is pretty incredible as to what we've been able to do together. This year, as far as renewal, is I do not see any increase or any uptick in volatility or as to what our premiums will be. I do think we'll be able to hold the line as far as costs go. So in that aspect is, again, the program's performing incredibly well. We're down 23% over 3 years, and I expect that trend to continue.
Does that mean that you expect to continue to reduce the premium this year?
Yes, I do.
And are you suggesting, as you did to Mr. Smoker, that perhaps we don't submit this application just yet?
I think Mr. Smoker's misunderstood what I was saying is we need to go ahead and submit the application. What I was saying is last year we waited until about February 2nd to propose, which is a little later than what we've typically done. But by doing so, is we were able to pull in 2 carriers on the top end of the tower that enabled us to save about $10,800 last year. I would recommend that we kind of do the same exact approach, because I think we'll be able to pull in 2 carriers that were initially on the risk, and basically you have these carriers compete with each other. The point I'm getting at is I would go ahead and set the target date to first week in February, and I think that'd be advantageous for everybody.
Any questions, Mr. Millick? Sounds good to me. Thank you so much. I'll rely on you and Mr. Smoker to keep Mr. Stewart and I apprised.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I didn't really recognize that Jeff Seward is now the acting Chief Executive Officer of HART and will be with us for some time, hopefully. So we're glad to have you with us. Chair's report, I really don't have one. Mr. Seward, do you have items you'd like to cover?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Board members, the first item I'd like to talk about is Gasparilla. We are geared up and ready to go for the 27th. However, an item that I wanted to bring to your attention, I didn't want to have staff unilaterally make a decision without discussion at the board level. Gasparilla somehow missed off our radar that it actually falls on Saturday, and Saturday are our free fares. And Gasparilla typically is our highest revenue day on fares of the entire year. So, there is the opportunity that we could make a one-day exception to the free Saturdays, or staff recommendation is to continue with the free Saturday along with the free bus bridges for goodwill to the community and not have that little, not use the small print on the signs, which no one reads anyway, that they want to pay us.
Sure.
So our recommendation is that we,
How much money are we talking about that we're waiving?
like $47,000.
A substantial amount of money.
It is.
Or you're also aware of the NHL on the same day.
We're well aware of that entire weekend of.
Same day.
Same day. Yeah.
We're not particularly well heeled.
I'm sorry?
I said we are not particularly well heeled and financed, and I think that that's a tremendous amount of money to give up for a goodwill gesture.
I'll second that, if that's a motion.
It's a motion. I'm going to
second.
charge our fares on that Saturday.
I agree.
And the consideration for the hockey too, I don't know how you can do that, Jeff, exactly, but I know that at the convention center we're having to do the turnaround from the Gasparilla invasion that morning to the NHL party that evening, so there's going to be that ridership, which you always have anyway on return from the parade route, but it's not going to stop that day. It's going to be continuous, so just so you're aware.
Well, my question would be, what marketing is already out there on Gasparilla and the NHL that perhaps has already said that this is free? Is there any?
No, we actually are waiting for this.
Okay.
I can't speak to the NHL, but
case.
we are waiting for this meeting to put out our marketing for that weekend.
Okay. I was worried about that.
I was just going to say I wasn't aware that it was that much money. It's a lot of money to forego. Would anybody consider making Friday free instead of Saturday? It would be nice to have one to not forego a free day. That Friday night will be busy, but it won't be insane, and it still allows us to capture revenue on Saturday. Any thoughts about that?
I wouldn't do it just because I think it's too confusing to be switching days around like that.
Okay, so just cancel it cancel the free Saturday.
There is an alternative, Mr. Rosenstock. We do have a little bit of extra funding available.
Yes, originally for the CRAs.
Speak in the microphone, Steve.
I'm sorry. Originally for this, the CACs contributed an extra $150,000, of which $120,000 has been used for the free Saturdays, which leaves $30,000 extra unspent.
Yeah, but we have the rest of the year to go, right?
The $120,000 is free Saturdays. That covers it. So there is $30,000 left. Now, originally, Ms. Burkhardt had talked to YCDC about what they had wanted, and they had asked for every third Saturday free to extend in the morning for the Ybor City Market. And so when I had a discussion with Ms. Burkhardt about that, we have the last Friday of each month free with wristband. We have free Saturdays. So every third Saturday in the morning, all the messages are very confusing. So we came up with an alternative, of which we did discuss on the board maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And actually, YCDC Downtown Partnership and the other channel side are in full support of it. The $30,000 would go to extending Sunday night from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. And what that allows us to do is, the hospitality people are usually off on Sundays. Second of all, the convention center, some people come in on Sundays, and it extends the restaurant's time because if you have to take the streetcar back to downtown or the convention center, the last one is at 8 o'clock or just before 8 o'clock, you really have to rush through dinner on a Sunday night. And so the messaging for that $30,000 is so much easier to explain then every third Saturday morning.
Right.
So the recommendation and staff recommendation has been to use that $30,000 to extend Sunday evenings till 10 p.m.
Which has nothing to do with our conversation at the moment, right?
No, but it's an option.
Oh, to spend that money?
Yes.
So not extend it, just use it for this Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
An option.
I don't know how you all feel. I would prefer to spend the 30 on something special and new. So if it's the board's wish that we go ahead and charge the Saturday for Gasparilla, I think we should take care of that and then talk about how to spend the 30.
Great.
Okay. Do we have a motion and a second? Bob?
Move to restore funding on the day of Gasparilla and the NHL championship.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. One direction.
That's just too much money to
Why we brought it back
to blink at. Yeah, it was very wise of you to do that. Okay, now you're suggesting that we've already covered every Saturday with $120,000.
Yes, correct.
So you're saying
through September 28th.
Right. For the remainder of the year, extend Sunday service to 10 o'clock?
It would be starting February through the end of September, correct.
How do you all feel about that? And you're saying that you think there's sufficient traffic on Sunday nights?
We expect the alternative that Ybor City came up with is to help this Ybor Saturday market. The CACs were consulted as to what they thought. The original thought was to extend it in the morning on every third Saturday for the Ybor City market. When we went back to them to talk to them, they realized that it would benefit much more of Ybor City rather than just the Saturday market if we extended in the evening till 10 p.m.
So
and again, it's a test. It's a test. We've never done that before.
It occurs to me after being on this board for several years that on more than one occasion we are approached about special events and having extended service and things like that. I would prefer to keep the money in the kitty, that we are approached for some special function that we actually have money to extend service or offer some special.
In other words, keep the 30 for now and see what...
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Any problem with that? I don't think we need a motion, Steve. Just
okay.
We'll revisit it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. My last item is just an informational item. I have been working with the CEO of the Memphis area transit system. They are starting up their historic streetcar system, and we are going to help train their operators. I believe starting Monday, February 5th. They are going to have their operators come here. We're going to train them at their expense. In turn, we are going to have some operators go to Memphis in the next couple of months and help train on site there, again, at their expense. So it'll be an interlocal agreement or an agreement between the CEOs of both agencies. No board action is required, but I want to let you know that they had reached out. We came to an agreement, and we will be helping Memphis out, getting their streetcar line up and running. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bob?
Question, what kind of equipment are they going to use?
It's like ours.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yes.
This isn't new either. Their system completely collapsed.
And the Beale Street.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, I mean, it goes all the way through downtown. It loops. It goes out to their hospital district. It's 7 or 8 miles long now, but it just completely self-destructed several years ago, and they have consultants helping put it all back together. I don't know what happened up there, but it was a disaster. So it's interesting that they've come to us for help, and I think it's fine. Anybody else have a problem?
That says a lot about us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Jeff. Let's move to Lori Gage and Direct Media Report.
Good afternoon. Happy New Year.
just wanted to talk a little bit, since it's a new year, and I know the way we report numbers, contract period versus calendar period, just to kind of make it a little simpler, at least in my eyes. In 2016, our net revenue for advertising sales was $87,930, so your 60% would have been $52,700, almost $53,000. And in 2017, we did $104,214, so for that calendar year it was $62,500 and change. So we definitely had a better year in 2017. For 2018, we're happy that we renewed Miller Coors again for the year, so that's always solid money in our pockets. We kicked off the year with Tito's and new advertising. We're talking to the Art Festival, Crown Royal, the Lightning, hopefully will extend what they currently have out there. And that is about all I have. Any questions?
Guess not. Thank you very much for your report.
Thank you very much.
Let's move to action item, resolution R 2018-01-01, accepting our audited THS financial statement.
So moved.
Anyone in the audience here to present it? Any questions? Hopefully not, because there's no one here. Lee's usually here for this, and I've looked through it. I don't really have any issue with it, but if you want to take a minute and glance through it, feel free to do that.
Under system sponsors, the Tampa Port Authority is still listed.
Yeah, that's really too bad. Would you be sure that that comes off our letterhead, please?
Yes, sir.
Either that or send them a bill.
I could do both.
Yeah, we've tried that before.
Would you do the same thing with the Tampa Tribune?
Well, they don't exist anymore, so
Right.
they could probably come off too.
Is the Times a sponsor?
No.
Okay.
Well, the Tribune was because they paid for a station, didn't they?
They did for 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, look at all of them.
Yeah, well, HFC left the environs quite a while ago.
They sure did. But somebody whoever bought them wanted to remain. You might want to figure out that one too. It was beneficial originally.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Need a motion? Mr. Chairman, I move approval of accepting the 2017 audited Tampa Historic Streetcar financial statement.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
We have a second, a motion and a second. Any questions? Any questions about it? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. I'm not sure where Lee was, but someone let him know that we missed him. Thank you. Okay, that really concludes our regular agenda, but for compliance reports, does anyone have... Oh, I have a question of Steve. You kindly sent the report. I don't know if everybody's seen it on the Saturday service. Would you mind just talking about that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Because it's been pretty successful.
What we did is we compared the free Saturday service from the beginning of the year through current, and we did take out Streetcar Fest because it was unfair, because it was down this year. because we didn't have the children's Halloween thing in Central Ybor, which was a huge big draw. They moved it to the next week. And then also the Cupcake Festival happened, I think it happened in November, not October. So we didn't have quite the group activity, so we took that out. But anyway, what we're showing to date, which is fantastic, the ridership is 27,864 since beginning, and this is all attributable just to the free Saturdays. The ridership in last year was 15,000, so there was an increase of almost 13,000 trips, of which is an increase of 85% so far. And most of it started again, it picked up obviously over the holidays.
Sure. That's great. Any questions? And yeah, Dave?
I have a question, which I think I know the answer to, but looking at the ridership report on page 5-4, our ridership is up, but the revenues are down as compared to 2017. I'm sorry, 2017 as compared to 2016. I'm assuming that's because of the free Saturday service. Is that what the accounts for that?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And we also have the free Friday fare promotion also with the wristband from the Downtown Partnership.
Yeah, good.
Since I'm new to this board again, could somebody explain? I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but just the strategy behind the free Saturday service and just what the idea was behind that? Or,
Well, essentially, we went to the 3 CRAs and asked them each for $50,000 to apply to some form of promotion that would increase ridership and be of assistance to the 3 neighborhoods. And we talked to them, and pretty much the consensus decision was to not charge for fares at all on Saturdays, which is probably our biggest day. Okay. And so not charging for fares has shown us a dramatic increase in ridership. Mm-hmm. And I think all 3 CRAs I hope they're pleased with the investment, because we'll be going back to them, I'm sure, this coming year and see if they'd be willing to continue to do that.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
Sure. Any other questions? Thank you, Steve. Any other questions of the consent agenda? If not, thank you for coming. This meeting is adjourned.